We're back! Season 4. Season 4. Who knew we had that much material when we first started doing this?
Yeah.
I sure didn't. This season, this is something I've been working on a lot recently. It's one of my favourite things to teach. So I've been super excited of putting this one together. I'm actually in the Icelandic Globetrotters camp next week. So this will be mid-July 2020. And this is one of the classes I'm going to be teaching. This is the first class of the week. So there's going to be a full hour-long class on sweep theory that I should be uploading next week whilst I'm actually at the camp. And then hopefully, if the videographer is at the camp as well, there'll be the official video on the Globetrotters website. So I'm super excited about this. It's something I'm really looking forward to teaching. When it comes to sweep theory then, again, not all Jiu-Jitsu is black and white. There's a lot of shades of grey in there. 50 maybe. So, laugh at my own jokes. There's numerous ideas when it comes to the sweep. There's numerous things I look for, to the point where I now no longer use official sweeps. I just invent sweeps on the spot and hope they work. So sweep by definition is rotation of people from the bottom to the top, and descend from the top to the bottom. So if you imagine that is you on the bottom, you've got little legs sticking upright, and that is them on top with their little legs pointing downwards. This is what happens in a sweep. You have to go to the side here. There's this halfway point that's going to be integral to this entire thing, and then there's a finish of the rotation where the other person comes on top. So that is a sweep by definition. The first thing I look for then is my positioning in that rotation, that 180 degree turn, and their positioning in that rotation. Because if I've got to go from here to here, it's 180 degrees. Again, it's not black and white. It is possible to do when you're facing the other way. But if my body's already facing here and I want to rotate the same direction, instead of traveling 180 degrees, I'm now having to travel 230, 240 degrees. So my distance is now increased. So the difficulty is also increased. Same again, is that their hip rotation, when they're on top, I want to send them at most a 180. If I'm having to send them 240, again, if they're here, and I'm trying to send them all the way around on a 240 degree turn, that's excessive, and it's probably not going to work. One of the sweeps we're going to look at in the season, the next episode actually, is the scissor sweep, and that becomes super important, that sweep. It's a sweep that gets abandoned quite early because people don't think it works. But when you start applying these concepts, which we hope to do all season, things start to make sense again. So to see how actually simple this is if you imagine me sitting here like I was sitting in your guard specifically, I'm very flat. My hips are completely straight right now. If I just do this, ever so slightly to the side, so middle to the side, I've always started that rotation. So I'm no longer sitting there. It's no longer going to be a 180 degree turn to take me somewhere. It's now already rated down to about a 160, 150. And all I've done is tipped ever so slightly. And if it's that simple to see, from here to here, Jiu-Jitsu becomes so much more simple. You can read your sweeps way earlier. Now you can already put yourself in position and already then take them over. It's the same, I think we covered it in one of the earlier seasons when it comes to stance when you're playing guard. It was the wrestling episode, I think, where if you imagine wrestling, where I have a staggered stance here, I also have a flat stance. It's the exact same when I'm playing guard. If I have a flat guard here, I can also have a staggered guard here, like a half guard or something. So automatically from being here, I'm no longer a 180 degree turn, I'm already making it a 100, 120 degree turn. That's going to be so much easier to finish. So I read all these things very early in my sweeps. Rotation. So to show this example for the first sweep, for the first episode, it's going to be like a half butterfly sweep. The second thing I'm looking at is the table leg principle. Usually when I go to gyms and I show this, I use props. So I usually find chairs lying around. So I look at the imagine a human being as a table, oddly, and imagine taking away one of the table legs. So imagine here, if I take away this table leg here, it doesn't fall forwards easily, it doesn't fall sideways easily, it falls on a diagonal here. So that means the pressure has to come from the diagonal part. So I try and lift, if I remove something like an arm, I try and lift from the opposing corner, here. And the final thing there is the centre of gravity. And it's amazing if you actually start looking at the judo throws, wrestling takedowns, etc. It's amazing how much of this is pervasive across grappling. Like if you look at Ogoshi apply this idea, hip throw in judo, it actually seems to fit. It makes everything seem a lot more understandable when it comes to grappling. So the idea of the centre of gravity then is, if you imagine this table situation again, if you try and lift me from here, that's not where my centre of gravity is and I won't tip. The more you work towards this corner, the easier you'll find it is to tip me. The episode 3 of this season, we're going to look at the flower sweep, and that's a perfect example of this. It's an incredible sweep if you actually start to break it down in these particular ways. So applying this then, these 3 principles to the half butterfly sweep, so looking at rotation and how much rotation you've already committed to and how much they're already committed to, looking at the table leg principle and what you're trying to remove and the corner you're going to try and generate the force from, and the centre of gravity issue, which is very prevalent when it comes to butterfly sweeps. Everything starts to make sense and you can start to develop your sweeps you already have, or make up sweeps on the spot relatively easily. So, an issue with human beings as well. A human being in locomotion, like walking by definition means lifting one leg up and putting one leg down. You can't walk with all your weight on the same leg. You can't lift that leg whilst your weight is on it. Which means we naturally rotate as we move as human beings. So you can time their motion into a sweep. It's kazushi, it's judo, it's grappling. If he's flat here, I'm going to have to take him 180 degrees. It's going to be difficult. And if he hasn't already rotated in any way, look, now we're halfway through that situation. He's already rotated halfway. I don't want to send him that way, it'd be too difficult. I want to send him this way, because my body's all rotated this way, his body's all rotated this way. So usually the half butterfly. So I have my hook here. So part 1, rotation, which way makes the most sense. Part 2, look at the table leg principle. So if I want to send him over this arm has to be removed somehow. So that's why I'm going to hold it in some way. So I don't care, it's elbow, cuff, hand, don't really care. Or just cupping it over hooks, unhooks, doesn't really matter. And then look at the centre of gravity. So a prime example of this is when you do when you drill butterfly sweeps. If I try and lift Naki here, it doesn't work. If he moves forwards, a little bit. It keeps moving forwards again. There we go. Move forward again. Hey, you got it. Okay. So I found the centre of gravity with that. It's going to be the exact same here. If I try and just sweep him from here, it's not going to work. So I have to find his centre of gravity. So if either he's moving towards me, that's why the white belts get swept a lot, or I pull him towards me here. There. Rotation's already happened. I'm rotating and generating the force from the opposing corner and removing the table leg I've chosen. Here. And then complete the sweep with that rotational issue. From here, I need to make sure I get to my knees as fast as I can. Because we're both in, if we're on our side here, if we pause the sweep here, we're both in the middle. If he gets his bottom leg back and squares his hips, he kills my sweep. Or, if he holds my bottom leg upright, I can't finish my sweep because I can't move over the top. So that could be an issue where I could get that sweep, for example, bang, he then picks up my bottom leg and beats me back upright again. Just because I've tipped him doesn't mean I've won the exchange. A sweep means I have to be able to go on top. So the second I've completed my sweep, so I pull him forwards, I have to make sure I'm here. I can also push his hip away so he can't rotate back towards me. So we've completed that transition, that rotation from here to here. It started here, just because of how guard was set up, so it made more sense to take this, the 150 degrees, 130 degrees it was. But as soon as we get to this point, I have to then finish it. I have to lift that and make him tip over, and I have to get over my bottom leg. If I don't do those things, no sweep, no win, no points. Advantages only. But that's what we're going to be looking at for the rest of the season. Then we're going to be breaking down loads of different sweeps, applying that principle, and trying to make sweeps make more sense. I hope that was interesting. I will be uploading the full video from the camp next week, as long as everything goes to plan. Thank you for your time. You can tell I'm really excited about this episode. And yes, thank you for coming back to us. Thank you for watching that video, whatever the hell it was about. Please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. If there's a bell icon, it should be on this side. Please click on that if you want to get notifications for any new videos I make. If there are other videos around my head someplace, please click on those for more techniques. And in the description is a link to my Patreon if you want to support the channel in any way. So thank you for your time.